Hey everyone, Aiden here, and I'm back with another video. It's been a while since my last video with my preseason top 5, and I've just been super busy with my summer job and also getting myself ready for the next school year. Plus, I haven't gotten all the time I needed to consistently work on videos because they all just take so much time to work on. So I just want to sort of take this channel one video at a time so I can get all of you content out more once I sort of get near the school year once the college football season starts. But for now, I just want to plan on make videos for the college football conference media days because I think that's a great way to sort of get everyone excited for the college football season that's coming up. And what better way to start it off with the Big 12 media days? I'll be going over major headlines like Commissioner Brett Yormark's opening statements, what has Texas Tech done in response to the whole Brendan Sorsby situation, and what are some teams that are going to be in that playoff mix. And there are a lot of new eras in the Big 12, like Oklahoma State and Utah with brand new head coaches, so it'll be interesting to dive into those teams as well. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like down below, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because if you love college sports, mainly college football, you've come to the right place. Here's my video recapping Big 12 Media Days. So we begin with Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark's opening statement, and as usual, he's laying out the vision for the conference's future. Yormark is hoping to make the Big 12 in that national championship conversation, alongside with the other more prominent conferences like the SEC and the Big 10. This makes sense because, believe it or not, the Big 12 has only won one college football playoff game, and that was all the way back when TCU had that run to the national championship. Their victory was against Michigan in the Fiesta Bowl, which was a team that would eventually go on to win the national championship the following year. It also makes sense that the Big 12 wants to have a traditional powerhouse in their conference because that's sort of a theme across all the other conferences. Like you have Miami in the ACC, Ohio State in the Big 10, and also Georgia in the SEC. And this is where Texas Tech comes in, and this is what people have been bringing up to Yormark, especially with the whole Brendan Sorsby situation. Much of the attention was around Texas Tech, and when Yormark was asked about this, they were just wondering how was he going to just handle it. His response was just focusing on media days and all the 16 schools that were being represented, and he wished not to go into that stuff in more detail. In fact, there was a Texas Tech media personality who was asking about the tortillas being banned at Texas Tech. So he was just like, why hasn't Cincinnati been punished because Brendan Sorsby was there? And then before Yormark could answer that question, he asked the Texas Tech guy to stand up and tell him the question again. And his response was just like I said before, they were focusing more on Big 12 media days and all the 16 schools. Now, this might have been a more gotcha question to just laugh it off, but I think Yormark should have given a more prominent answer because it seemed very specific. Either way, it made him seem a bit more uptight, and he was probably never prepared for a question like that. Which I think, to be fair, kind of makes sense because as someone who tends to struggle to sort of get my words out and needs to process them more to get my real answer, it seems understandable why he would say something like this. Sometimes you just gotta be ready for questions like this, and I think Yormark's response was sort of like a take it or leave it. Media Days is about getting everyone excited for the college football season, and not really just a time where we can expose schools for their wrongdoings. Overall, I think Yormark made an unusual response to these questions, but he still has reasons to make the Big 12 a conference where all the 16 schools come together and make a conference just so fun to watch. As for Texas Tech, they are once again in the mix for winning the Big 12 and reaching the CFP for the second time. The reigning Big 12 champions will have to rely on Will Hammond as their quarterback. It's all playoff or bust for the Red Raiders as they are one of the biggest storylines this season, and Joey McGuire seems to have this team in a tight spot given what has recently happened to this program. This creates one of the biggest questions heading into this season. Has Texas Tech become the Big 12's new flagship football program? Whether it's yes or no, this team will play a huge role this year. The BYU Cougars are another contender for the Big 12 title, with their biggest faces of the team coming back, like quarterback Bear Bachmeier and running back LJ Martin. Head coach Kalani Sitake is wanting to push more importance on preseason expectations, with a lot of inaccurate Big 12 preseason predictions that are now happening. Now, I picked this team to win the Big 12 in my preseason top 25 video, and I think what Sitake is saying is making a lot of sense. No one knows who is 100% going to win this conference. Some say it's BYU, some say it's Texas Tech, some say it's Houston, And even people are throwing some wild takes out there, like a surprise team could end up winning the conference, or at least just going to Arlington to play in it. But we don't even know who this surprise team is because the conference, especially down in that like upper middle tier, is so wide open. So we'll see what happens when those expectations do meet later in this year when November comes around. Houston is looking to be a massive sleeper in the Big 12 and is hoping to reach the Big 12 championship game as well. The Cougars are coming off a 10-3 season, and Willie Fritz's team has a lot of people coming back, like quarterback Connor Wegman. I can actually see a timeline with Houston going to the title race, and maybe if they're lucky, they could end up winning it. Don't be surprised if the Cougars do make it there because they have a lot of expectations and are a dangerous team, especially in the Big 12. Not to mention that both of their coordinators are returning, and they have some good roster continuity as well. Now, at this point, I am going to do my rapid fire section. This is where I quickly recap the teams that I find the most intriguing and break them down in a couple sentences. Again, I don't want to go into every single team because that would take like forever to do so. So I kind of want to just experiment with this and see where we can go from here. So I'm going to be just reading off the script that I have in front of me and we'll see what happens. Starting with Oklahoma State, their new head coach Eric Morris is looking to get the Pokes back in the Big 12 title race. Whatever happens to the Cowboys, this is a team without a shadow of a doubt is going to be better than they were last season. TCU has brought in Harvard quarterback Jaden Craig, who can have a lot of NFL hidden talent within him. The Horned Frogs' floor is higher than most people think, and TCU could be one of those surprise teams in this conference. Arizona retained longtime quarterback Noah Fifita, who could become a Heisman dark horse later this season. The Wildcats showed some flash last season, but Fifita has to make unbelievable levels of throwing to reach those goals. Arizona State and head coach Kenny Dillingham are showing to be committed to being the top of the conference, who don't really need to spend more than the other teams have on their roster. One game they have on their roster is a road game at Texas A&M, which is a big game not just for Arizona State, but for the entire Big 12 conference. A win in a hostile environment is something that the Big 12 would absolutely love to have. Colorado has to refine their culture under year 4 with Deion Sanders, and they're doing it with Julian Lewis at their quarterback. The Buffaloes have a tough schedule, mainly in the non-conference with games at Georgia Tech and Northwestern. This team could be the biggest unknown in the Big 12, and we have no idea what this team will be, so be on the lookout for them. Lastly, Utah has a new era with longtime defensive coordinator Morgan Scalley taking over as the head coach. He's hoping to maintain the established culture in Salt Lake City instead of reinventing the program. That's why quarterback Devin Dampier is back to help get the Utes back on track after Kyle Whittingham left to go to Michigan. Wow, sorry, I need to catch my breath there because, yeah, that was a lot to unravel. So, just looking at these handful of teams I set in the Big 12, there are schools with so much potential, but they also have so many mysteries at the same time. Even just by looking at the mid tiers like TCU and Arizona State, you'd say that they have the potential to reach the playoffs, but they have a lot of limitations on being absolutely certain whether they will make it or not. It really shows that nobody doesn't have full confidence on who is the definitive winner. And once again, that's the Big 12's biggest flaw when they've got to meet those expectations to be more prominent in that playoff talk. But at the same time, that chaos is what makes the Big 12 stand out against all the rest. I have a soft spot for them. I have a soft spot for the Big 12. It is just one massive free-for-all that brings out some of the most underappreciated matchups that you will ever see. Like, take back in 2024 when Colorado beat Baylor in overtime. That game was like one of the best games of the 2024 season, at least in my opinion. And in this ever-changing landscape of college football that we're in, the Big 12 as a whole is one of those main characters. I think the lack of a dominant superpower in this conference might be one of the key factors that could make this into the most entertaining conference in 2026. But I think if the Big 12 can get more than one team in the college football playoffs, that is a huge win for this conference, a big one. But only time will tell if this is a real consistency because obviously you got 12 teams. It could be a thing if the Big 12 does get more than 2 teams in the conference, but they've got to just win their non-conference games and sort of just take care of the teams that they will easily beat. And that is my Big 12 Media Days recap. Thank you so much for watching and making it to the end of this video. I do want to acknowledge that this video may be a little bit shorter than some other media day recaps that you might come across. My goal of this video wasn't really to break down every single thing that was talked about down in Frisco because I would have to cover all 16 teams in that conference and we'd probably be here all day. And obviously, there are plenty of other quotes and storylines I could have talked about, but I don't want to make the video longer just for the sake of making it longer. Hopefully, you guys understand this approach and enjoyed getting a look at the biggest takeaways from this year's Big 12 Media Days. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. Take care, everyone. Bye.